Hey everyone, it's Anthony with Policy Buff, and I'm back with another How I Got the Shot video. In this episode, I'm taking you behind the scenes on a recent outdoor shoot where I used our new hub remote to get some shallow depth of field portraits using high-speed sync. But before we get started, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button, and if you enjoy this video, go ahead and hit like as well. All right, let's get started. I want to first say that this particular shoot was a little bit of a challenge for me. I don't usually shoot high-speed sync, and no, it's not because any of our previous flash units don't have that capability. It's honestly because my background's in graphic design, and when I'm composing my shots, I like to use elements in the background, like lines and grids and architecture, to help with that composition, and personally, I never really found a need to blur out my background. I just kind of like it. So with high-speed sync being a feature on the Link, and the new hub remote, I thought I'd give it a try. I had a shoot planned with local musician Kate Clark, who needed some images for social content and some potential upcoming projects. And we found a boutique motel called the Iris. And the Iris itself is really awesome and has some pretty cute and unique vignettes around to shoot. But the area around the hotel was filled with busy streets and fast food restaurants and big box stores. So I knew I didn't want any of those elements in the background of my shot. So I knew I needed to shoot at a wide open aperture to get a shallow depth of field and blur out my background. But I still wanted to incorporate flash to make Kate pop. So this ended up being the perfect scenario for me to use high-speed sync. So for those of you not familiar with high-speed sync, I'm going to break down my reason for using it in this shoot as simply as possible. By setting my camera to a wide aperture outdoors, I'm already letting in a bunch of light, and if I were to grab my flash and incorporate that, even just a little bit, it would probably give me way too much light. To correct this, I have a couple options. I would either need to tighten up my aperture, which would really defeat the purpose of me wanting to blur out my background, or I could adjust my shutter speed. Now, most DSLR cameras have a max sync speed of 1/200th to 1/250th of a second when using a standard off-camera flash, but of course that'll vary depending on your make and model of camera. So if I increase my shutter speed over my max sync speed and don't use high-speed sync, I'll experience banding on my image. Banding occurs when the shutter curtain blocks part of the flash from reaching the sensor. So basically, you're catching your shutter in action. So when using the hub remote with the Link flash unit, as soon as you go above your camera's max sync speed, both of them automatically go into high-speed sync mode. So now that all that's out of the way, let's talk about some of the images that I created. For this shoot, I grabbed my go-to modifier, the 24-inch silver foldable beauty dish. And my next challenge is to show you guys that I can use other modifiers than a beauty dish. But for this purpose, it allowed me to move freely around the property and keep my setup pretty small. We started our shoot on the front side of the building that had some cool stairs and some cool railings, and those elements were fun to kind of play with and incorporate, and we were able to blur out that background to keep the main focus on Kate. So for the second spot, we went to the street right next to the motel, and it was definitely fall in full effect. Trees were awesome and changing colors, and there was a cool winding road. And I was a little hesitant to use high-speed sync because, I don't know about y'all, but back in the day when I used to get my portrait taken in like 3rd grade and I'd have to sit in front of that fake outdoorsy backdrop, that's what I was afraid this was going to look like. And thankfully, it didn't. So don't get me wrong, there are some absolutely stunning high-speed sync portraits, but depending on the background, when it's so blurred out, it really reminds me of those old school vintage backdrops. And that's what I was afraid was going to happen here, but I was pleasantly surprised with the end results, and this honestly became one of my favorite sets from this shoot. So during my session with Kate, we wanted to get as many different looks within one location as possible. So we moved behind the building, and there were these cool shadows being cast from the sun and some bamboo, and it kind of gave me a softer romantic vibe. So I shot for that, and also when I edited them, I wanted to do them in black and white because honestly I haven't seen very many high-speed sync black and white portraits, and that really helped emulate that softness that I was kind of shooting for and creating. Second look in the same spot was a complete contrast from that. I wanted to utilize the all black building and Kate's all white outfit to get more of an urban graphic pop. And I had a little bit of help from the sun acting as my backlight and had the power of the link to add a good punch of light on the front of Kate. Our final look brought us back to the front of the motel where there was this cool set of teal tables and chairs, and the background itself was very similar to the first look, but since we were up a little bit higher, I had a little bit more blue sky to work with. So y'all know I'm not a very technical photographer, so I really appreciate Kate running around the building with me and letting me try a whole bunch of different things. After this shoot, I can definitely see the benefits of using high-speed sync, and I look forward to doing more shoots with it in the future. I hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget, if you're not already, give us a follow on Instagram @PaulCBuffInc. And thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.